Welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about the astrology of May 2022. I'm actually going to be going through the chart for May. I'm going to be talking about planets changing signs, planets changing directions, and new moons and full moons. And it's going to be an overview for all signs. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Alison. So let's get started. Okay, so planets on the move for May 2022. And as usual, first up, I'm telling you, these are based on universal time zone. So what that means is that if you live west of Greenwich, these dates may occur the day beforehand. And if you live east of Greenwich, these may occur on the day after. So for May 2022, this is going to be the actual chart. We're going to be looking at planets changing signs, new moons, full moons, and the planetary stations. These are the main things I look at when I'm forecasting and writing my horoscopes. So the idea is I'm taking the whole chart and seeing what's happening from the 1st of May to the 31st of May, and then deciding what we're going to be looking at. Now, first up, we have on the 2nd, we have Venus is entering Aries. So Venus is going from Pisces, where it is in exaltation and really quite happy, into Aries, where it's in detriment. So Venus is not particularly happy here. Suggested interpretation is focus on love and money affairs and become subdued, although a little rash, because Venus cannot actually function very well when it's in Aries. So love life and financial issues are likely to be, I don't want to use the word fraught, however, it's not going to be easy as it has been recently. Then we have on the 10th, Mercury is stationing retrograde. Now Mercury is already in Gemini, which it's sign, it's in domicile. It's actually very well placed in Gemini, and it's super happy here. So what's happening now? It's retrograding, it's turning, it's making a station, and it's retrograding back. And you'll see towards further on in the month, it actually goes further even back than from Gemini. So when a planet stations retrograde, it is a hesitation point for in that particular for that planet. And also what during a retrograde cycle, we need to look at our RE words. It's redo, revisit, revise. So this is going to be the type of thing that we can anticipate as Mercury now is retrograding, is stationing first, then retrograding during Gemini. So I'm suggesting a hesitation in communications, and you haven't got all the facts, because if you make decisions now whilst Mercury is retrograde, you are not in possession of all the facts, and something will crop up later when Mercury goes direct again that will change your opinion or thoughts or ideas. So one needs to be careful. Of course, if you've got no choice, you have to make a decision, but if you can at all, this is a time to consider particular things that you're doing, especially if you're signing contracts. Next up, we have on the 10th as well, same day, this is our planet of the month, Jupiter is entering Aries. So Jupiter is leaving Pisces, where it's been for a long time. It's entering Aries for a little while, and it's crossing the Aries point. It's the beginning of the zodiac. It's almost the beginning of a new zodiacal cycle for Jupiter as well. So this is I'm calling it the planet of the month, because it is the most significant event occurring in May. My suggested interpretation here is active growth spurts whilst Jupiter is in Aries. Opportunities will be fleeting, so you're going to have to be quick, but rash behavior and offering too much may be a knee-jerk reaction to this. So Jupiter brings opportunities, and when in Aries, they are the people will be saying to you, you've got until the end of the day to make your decision, or whatever it is, or we can't hesitate here. Something has to be done. And decisions that are made during this time that appear to have opportunities may or may not do so. But if you can just take a breath or count to 10 before you actually move forward, offering to do things for others that you actually cannot fit in your day, you are overextending yourself. This is likely if you're feeling under the gun during this time. So anytime someone's saying to you, I need my answer by noon, or you've got to tell me right now, this offer's only going to last 5 minutes, that's when you need to say, hang on a minute, and give some thought to it. Yeah, super exciting, but things can get done But you do need to watch out for overextension of yourself and your own time and energy at this time. Next we have a super fun lunar eclipse, I should say, on the 16th. Lunar eclipses are always great. They follow the solar eclipse we had last month. So this time it's actually at 25 degrees Scorpio. This lunar eclipse will affect anyone with birthdays on November 17th, 18th or 19th. It will be directly on your sun and bring the meaning of this eclipse to you, to your door, no question about it. Because eclipses don't always affect everybody. We have to bear that in mind. So some interpretation suggestions I have for this is clarity around what has to go, what you have to let go of, and bittersweet endings. This is in Scorpio, and it's also, when it's lunar, it's that you can see things clearly because it's at a full moon. So we can clearly see the full light of the moon, apart from when it moves into the Earth's shadow, and it's then, of course, in the eclipse. But symbolically, this is the time where you can clearly see what is going on. And in Scorpio, it's a time to let things go. So even though you might be humming and hawing about people, situations, or job, or whatever, what comes to you on this day would be, which is the 16th, this would be insights for you to think, yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to just let that go and move on with your life. So bear that in mind. That will be around the 16th. So it's totally mid-month. Then on the 22nd, we've got the sun entering Gemini. So it's moving in there from Taurus into Gemini. And my suggested interpretation is spotlight on both sides of the story, gossip, learning, and current affairs, which are all hugely Gemini things. Clearly, you may change your mind. And not just you, everybody. The sun is in Gemini, so there's going to be many thought processes going on, and people will change their mind, particularly, as you recall, because Mercury is retrograde at the same time, so you're going to go back over decisions made. And that will actually probably peak as well at the actual conjunction. Next, we are having a subtlety here. What we've got is on the 23rd, Mercury is actually entering Taurus retrograde. So recently, Mercury was in Taurus. It moved into Gemini last month. It's retrograded. It turned retrograde at the station earlier this month, and it's now going further back into Taurus. So when Mercury is retrograde, this is always a time when you want to go back over things you have done, decisions you have made, and thoughts you have had, ideas you have had, proposals you may have purported to someone. So what's happening here now, it's going right back into Taurus, where it's going to slow things down when Mercury is in Taurus. My suggestion here is review your core values. What you felt was important, or you thought was important, may not be, and you now have a chance while Mercury is retrograding in Taurus to go back over what you consider are your core values, and that would be an excellent use of this energy. Then on the 24th, Mars is entering Aries. Super fun time for Mars. Mars was in Pisces, not particularly happy there. Now Mars is in Aries. It's catching up to Jupiter there. Mars rules Aries, so it's in its own sign of rulership. It's getting a +5 on our scoreboard, and it's well placed. So activities, actions, and anything Martian will go well at this point. We can anticipate dynamic energy is available now. If you're the sort of person who spends your life at the gym, you're going to be great at the gym. It's this sort of energy. And when Mars is in Aries, I always like to say it's best to break a sweat every day, whether you're just jogging or walking, or maybe you're a super athlete, because you get the energy out. Otherwise, it may come out in unfortunate other areas where perhaps you end up having arguments, you're shouting, you've got road rage as you're driving along because someone's hesitating across the zebra crossing or something. So when Mars is in Aries, make sure to break a sweat every day and release some of that tension. Then on the 28th, we've got Venus is moving into Taurus. So this is a super great position for Venus. Venus rules Taurus. This is what I was saying earlier, that it's well placed. It was not very happy in Aries, and now it's actually moving into Taurus, its own sign, its own basically financial sign. So my suggested interpretation is establish the financial future you want now. This is the time to get things organized, to start your savings plan, to do your budget, boring as it may be, but this is the time to establish your financial base. Evaluate the people with whom you invest your time and energy. Where are you investing? Are you just visiting your mother-in-law because you feel you ought to? Wouldn't your time be better off taking a course or something like that? Consider where you're investing your time and your energy, which is finite, really. So it comes down to two things. It's where are you putting your money and where are you putting your energy? And these are things that need to be considered whilst Venus is in Taurus, because this is the time when you can get organized. So if you want to think about this before the 28th, earlier in the month, and decide you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that, you can then put these things into place as Venus goes through Taurus. So as again, we'll get dignity. It's Venus rules Taurus, so it's getting a score of +5, super well placed. So we've got Mars in its own sign now, and we've actually got Venus in its own sign. So they're both working quite well together at the moment. Then on the 28th, further later on, we actually have the Gemini new moon, and this is clearly the new moon in Gemini. My suggested interpretation here is do more writing, thinking, and have communications that really connect. Instead of just jibber jabber and chit chat and, God forbid, gossip, because it's very much a Gemini thing. What are the neighbours doing? What is Mrs. Smith doing? Oh, they bought a new car. Don't go down that road. Rather, start having more deeper connections with people. Make time to spend time with them. Do some writing. If you want to do some journaling, which is always a super expression, a great expression of anything to do with Gemini. Get your thoughts out of your head onto the page rather than blurting things out at other people, which may not be the right things to do. So if you are a writer or you're doing anything in that, or you're learning something or at school, this is a great time as well. And of course, the new moon is always the time in the month where you want to start something new. Maybe you want to put some new moon intentions out, and they would be related to this new moon, and the position is 9 degrees 3 Gemini. So that tells you exactly where the new moon's going to be. Great new moon. It's moving on. Every month there is a new moon, and every month it really moves into the next sign. So there we have it. That is your roundup for May 2022. So there it is. We went through the whole chart for May 2022. We spoke about planets changing signs, planets changing direction, and the new and the full moons, maybe some other bits and bobs. And that's what's in store for May 2022. Now, of course, there are many more things that can be said about the planets moving in May. The scads are written about all sorts of the Sun, Jupiter moving into Aries, and all of these big things that are happening. And of course, the detail would go down to the sign level, where you've got each different sign, how it's affecting them. But really, this channel is about showing you how to understand where the forecasting comes from if you're an aspiring astrologer, what you need to be looking at, and then develop your interpretations from there. So I'm here, this is more of a launching pad for you to get going with your astrology work. I'm Alison Price. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.